Knowing when to quit. When do you think is the right point for you to leave the SMMA social media marketing agency space or entrepreneurship in general? Let's get into it. So this is actually quite a sad topic to talk about because I feel like a lot of people who are in entrepreneurship or the SMMA space shouldn't be in it. Because here's the thing, like entrepreneurship really is not for everyone, because like building your own business is going to require a lot of like mental fortitude. It's going to place so much stress on your shoulders, and like honestly, most people, I'd say like 70 to 80% out there are way more suited to just work a 9 to 5 job. In fact, I don't even know if entrepreneurship is entirely for me at this point. Not that I I'm thinking about quitting or whatever. It's literally like, I don't think I understand myself enough, and I haven't put enough time and effort into entrepreneurship to truly understand whether this lifestyle is for me or just working a 9 to 5 in a corporate environment and then try to, just make a good living off like that, So yeah, by the way, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Boyan and I make videos on SMMA, social media marketing, entrepreneurship, business mindset, Monday to Friday, UK time, 6 p.m. So if that sounds like you, stay subscribed for more. Anyways, let's get into it. So the thing is, the reason why I say entrepreneurship isn't for everyone right now is because who enters this space, at least on like YouTube and social media, gets into it by being sold the dream of like, financial success, financial freedom, independence, blah, blah, like taking control of your own destiny, working less for more kind of thing. Like, and that's just not how it is. And I've said this is the second time I'm saying this week, because the first video was why you shouldn't start entrepreneurship, SMMA in 2020. And I highly recommend that video, by the way. So yeah, check that out if you haven't already when you finish this video. Thing is, with social media decreasing and killing our attention span so much to the point where it's hard for us to even sit down and read a book for an hour, everyone is trying to find that instant gratification in their financial futures as well. So that's like, everyone's trying to find that get rich quick scheme. And honestly, there's just no such thing. As a business owner who is just starting out, regardless of whether it being an SMMA or any other business model, you need to be the type of person that's willing to work 80 hours a week just to avoid working the 9 to 5 or 40 hours a week. And, to me, like sometimes I just think, entrepreneurs are actually so stupid, because if you put it in terms of, okay, you need to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week, it just logically just makes absolutely zero sense, right? It must make no sense to the average person. But it makes sense to me, and it makes sense to so many other people who have found success in this space. And even if you work 80 hours a week, your success isn't even guaranteed, which is the crazy part. But somehow we're able to justify it in our minds that, the reward is disproportionately greater than the risks, the costs included. If you're the type of person to want, like when you hear, you need to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week, if that excites you, then maybe this entrepreneurship thing is really for you. But if you're reasonable and logical and you think like, oh, that sounds kind of stupid, not for me, completely fine, then you found the answer to your question, in which case click off this video right now. But if you're still unsure, let me get into it a bit more in depth for you. So when should you quit really? To be honest, if you're looking for a simple answer, like if you don't get a client after 6 months, then quit, this industry isn't for you, then click away, because there's honestly no simple answer to this question. Because there's certain things you have to bear in mind. In my opinion, the way to find the answer to this question is different for every single individual. But one thing that everyone needs to have in common to make an informed decision on something like this, and it's an incredible amount of self-awareness. And what I mean by that is like, with anything in life in general, whether you decide to go into something or to exit it, you need to be self-aware and ask yourself the really like hard questions. Because for example, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I think. Oh no, Wednesday's video on how to stay motivated. We all imprison ourselves, by, if you told your parents, oh, like, I'm gonna start a social media marketing agency, be making 6 figures within 6 months, then you kind of mentally imprison yourself in this situation, and you feel really hesitant, and you feel a load of anxiety if you were to choose to leave and quit this industry. What I mean by that is, for example, like, you're just scared of looking like a dickhead and an absolute fool. If you told all of your friends, I'm really going to go for this opportunity, I think I can make a load of money off of this, and then you just end up quitting 6 months down the line. See, when it's like really just not bringing you any success, happiness, or fulfillment, you're scared to do that because you mentally trapped yourself in this direction and in this path. It's okay to give up. Don't be afraid to quit. And that's like one of the biggest things. But quit for the right reasons. Now, I'm going to suggest a few questions that you really sit down and evaluate and have an inner dialogue with yourself on, because these questions aren't something that I can help answer, or, I can't just tell you like, oh, yeah, you should quit entrepreneurship, SMMA, it's not for you. You're more like a 9 to 5 kind of person. I don't know you guys like that. So it's up to you guys to really be self-aware, be transparent with yourself, and be completely honest and brutally honest with yourself with these questions, and really dig deep to find the answer for this yourself. Now, here's some of the questions I would suggest that you ask. You could ask more, but these are good ones to start with and start you off on this like thought train of, whether you should continue with SMMA or just quit it completely. So the questions that you should ask is, for me, the book that impacted why I do everything that I do is a book called Start With Why. And basically you want to sit down and really ask yourself, why did I even get into the SMMA space in the first place? Is it just to make money? Because if it's just to make money, this business model, there's literally so many ways to make money, and literally financial opportunity is everywhere. I didn't realize like you can make money on the internet. Well, I did know of it, but I didn't think it was possible for myself until I really dug deep into it. So it's just like, really evaluate. Are you doing this because you genuinely are passionate, in which case keep going? Or are you, if you're just in it for the money and you hate the SMMA space, you hate the influencers that are in it, you hate having to do the service delivery, you hate having contractors and managing everything, and it gives you like insane anxiety, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's your destiny is to be like an office worker working a 9 to 5. Like that's completely okay. Or like a doctor, or like a pharmacist or something, even a lawyer maybe. Anything that makes you happy truly long term, that's what you should go for. Fulfillment and happiness is honestly what you should ask yourself. And if why you're doing it isn't to make you happy, then maybe reevaluate. Another excellent question to ask is, are you good at this? And if you're not, are you willing to get good at this? Because what people don't realize is often they don't realize like how much work it actually takes to get to a successful level and to get to a level where you're actually good at this. And some people just don't even have what it takes to, put in that time and effort because they want to live a good social life or whatever. And that's completely fine. If you prioritize social life because it brings you a load of joy to always be around your friends, going out for drinks every Friday, completely fine. Like, I'm not judging that. I used to judge, but that was just, what I realized was that was just me imposing my values and the way I want to live and the way I think I should live onto others. So it's just like, if that's what you want, go for that. Don't start your own business. Just work a normal job. Like, it's not that deep. Then, which brings me on to the next question. Are you willing to do what it takes? Because are you willing to suffer and work 80 hours a week for the foreseeable future to perhaps, have a shot at succeeding? If you're not willing to do that, then maybe this space isn't for you. And if you think you have what it takes, do you really have the kind of balls and the tenacity to really execute on that? And I mean like truly execute. These are all really tough questions that you have to ask yourself. By the way, really sorry for the background noise. Nothing I can control. It's just literally my housemates living their lives. So yeah, sorry for the background noise. But anyways, another really, really good question that you could ask yourself is, why haven't I succeeded thus far? And what I mean by that is, it's just like looking back at what you have done so far and just seeing like kind of self-diagnosing why you haven't reached the level that you want to reach yet. And this question can not really be answered by itself. You need to ask other questions related to this one to truly put together a very well-informed and in-depth answer to this. And these are the questions I recommend that you answer before attempting to answer that question. And these questions are things like, do I have enough knowledge? Like, do I know enough? So is this a knowledge issue? That the reason why I haven't succeeded a knowledge issue? Because if it's a knowledge issue, perfect. That means if you just buy a course or purchase some coaching kind of thing, you'll be able to succeed. Most people think it's a knowledge issue, but what in reality, it's an action issue. It's an actionability issue, So the next question you should ask yourself is this an action issue? Am I putting in the work even? Am I working as hard as the person that I want to outcompete? Or am I working like the person that I look up to and that I learn from? And most of the time, in fact, I'd say 99% of the time, it's going to be a no. It's going to be a fat no, in fact, because you don't live like that person. You haven't experienced life like that person. So realistically, one, you're doing two things wrong. One, you shouldn't compare yourself. Two, maybe you're just your body isn't at the capacity where it's able to output so much work. So for example, if you don't have the healthy habits and great healthy systems in place to keep you from, going sideways essentially, then, you probably can't even work as hard as these people. So by the way, if you're struggling with health and habits, check out yesterday's video. Highly recommend that. That was a video I'm pretty much the most excited for this week. But yeah, check that video out. It's already out. It went out yesterday, 6 p.m. But anyways, another really, really good question to ask yourself to help you find the answer to the initial question is, maybe you just haven't been patient with yourself enough. So if you've only been doing this for 5-6 months, you can't really expect to have a client. Yeah, and that's because and if you are expecting yourself to have many clients and be 6 figures already, then that's because you're comparing yourself to other people. Everyone has their own individual journeys in life. And, if you compare, and everyone's destinations is going to be somewhat different. My destination in terms of life goals isn't as high and as ambitious as someone like Iman Ghazi's. I don't want to reform the education system because I just don't really particularly care for that. But, I want to make my impact. I want to do it in a meaningful way. And it's my level of impact that I want to make is good enough for me. And that's completely fine. Stop comparing yourself to other people. And, if you're thinking that you haven't succeeded thus far and it's not because you put in the time, and maybe it is that you've put in the time, but maybe that during that time you just haven't been able to overcome your personal issues, which brings me on to the next question that you should ask yourself. Do you have any extreme limiting beliefs? Have you not succeeded so far because maybe your family just is so critical of you and your friends are so critical and negative towards what you're trying to do that it's really limiting you in terms of your own belief and creating so many mental barriers that you have to really push to get over before you can find your success. I have no doubt that there's I know that there's different flaws of my own in my character and my mindset that I need to overcome before I even sign one client. And that's just a fact, So all of these questions put together is ultimately how you would begin to formulate the answer to the big question, which is, should you quit SMMA? Should you quit entrepreneurship in general? So yeah, go have a think about that, and I'll see you guys in next week's video. If you have found this video useful, leave a like and a comment. I really do want to hear your thoughts on this because this is a topic that I've kind of debated in my head for a long time as well. So if you drop that as a comment, I will read every single one. I respond to all of my comments as well. I always give it a like, give it a heart, and thank you guys in whatever way and try to give my best in terms of what I can provide in value. So yeah, I hope you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys in next week's videos. Remember, I will upload Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. UK time. Bye guys.